fantastic.
On a steamy July morning,
All right, let's get its circumference.
big tree enthusiast Jolie McCatherine leads a small crew, armed with neon vests and a tape measure, on a mission to document Maryland's living giants. Among them, one towering presence that she greets like an old friend.
Perfect. Beautiful tree. This is my favorite tree. It's a beautiful example of an English elm. 24 feet, 5 inches. And it's just what we call a gobsmacker. It just knocks you off your feet when you see it, both close and far.
Known as the Goshen elm, it stands sentry over Goshen Road in Montgomery County. Its precise age and origins, a mystery.
It's very old. We believe it may have been brought over from Kent, England, and planted by early settlers because it doesn't grow naturally in this area.
But its scale is undeniable.
This is the world's largest known English elm. If someone finds one that's larger, I will go visit it personally. But this is such a special, rare treat to have.
And Jolie would know. She's met a lot of trees during her tenure as co-chair of the Maryland Big Tree Program, a volunteer-based organization through the Department of Natural Resources.
The main purpose is for us to find the largest tree of each species, state, county, even national.
The Goshen elm, recognized as a national champion or the largest of its species nationwide,
107.
was nominated back in 1999. But the program's roots stretch back a full century to 1925, when Maryland's first state forester, Fred Besley, launched a contest to find the state's biggest trees. Entries poured in, 450 of them. First place and a $25 prize went to the owner of a 124-foot-tall pecan tree in Somerset County. And Marylanders have been noticing and nominating big trees ever since.
Oh, they got a lot of trees tagged here.
Back on the Big Tree Trail,
Look at the hickory in front of us. That's what I was gonna say.
I love that.
I do too. I have no idea where this tree is.
Why don't we ask somebody?
Jolie and crew pay a visit to the headquarters of the Isaac Walton League of America.
Hello. We're with the Maryland Big Tree Program, Montgomery County Forestry Board. Someone nominated a yellow poplar in the woods out here.
Yes, that was our team.
So if someone can show us where it is, that would be fantastic.
Jolie was introduced to the program nearly 30 years ago by longtime volunteer and Big Tree evangelist Joe Howard.
He asked if I would attend a meeting. I said, I'm way too busy. I've got way too many meetings. But Joe, you can't turn down.
I've been leading big tree tours since the 1990s. We preach to them a little bit about taking care of trees. That's one of our hidden agendas, always trying to get converts. And we use big trees to do this.
Even at 95, Joe is still chasing champions.
We do tromp around in the woods a lot. I think we've gotten everything you can get, poison ivy, poison oak. Let me start with GPS and we'll do our usual tricks.
Unlike the Goshen elm, this tulip poplar is a new one for the books.
Boy, it is tall.
Nominated by Isaac Walton staffer Maggie Dombrowski.
My coworkers actually were the ones who knew about this tree. I have some forestry experience, so I brought in my diameter tape and measured it, and then we submitted it. So it was kind of a group effort.
A few miles down the road, Rockville resident Christopher Lyons nominated yet another towering tulip tree, which he couldn't help but notice while walking his dogs.
You look up and suddenly there's this magnificent spread, and you know it's one great tree that's right there.
We're going to measure with the lean.
It just makes you stop and think about all the life that might be in the tree.
20 and a half.
And in Gaithersburg, Kevin and Carolyn Bridget were curious about two giants in their yard.
The one behind us, a willow oak, and another one which is a white pine.
Let's see what we get for the height.
They were big for me to look at, so I wanted someone else to know about trees to look at them and give us some information about them.
I'm getting 85.
But just because a tree is nominated doesn't mean it makes the cut. That comes down to a formula, the same one they've been using for a century.
There you go.
Circumference in inches.
We measure the circumference of 4.5 feet above ground level. There you go.
Plus the tree's height in feet, which Jolie measures using a tool called a hypsometer, plus 1/4 of the tree's average crown spread, again in feet. Calculated together, these three measurements give each tree its final score,
74 in height.
which determines whether or not it gets a place in the Big Tree database.
That gives us a total to compare to the other trees of the same genus and species. The total circumference is 246. Including trees that are deceased, it's 3,496 records.
Today's outing yields 6 new additions, 4 for the state and 2 for Montgomery County. But the true value of Maryland's trees goes far beyond feet and inches.
If these trees could talk, it'd be really interesting to know what's happened through their lives, what they've seen, what they've witnessed. And of course, we just appreciate for the sheer beauty of the larger trees. My hope for the next 100 years of the program is that it keeps going, keep the database going, and make sure it goes on to the next generation and beyond.